Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our news today. This is Alice. So let's jump into our first news directly. During the two sessions of the Communist Party of China, the Heilongjiang authorities strengthened their control over folks. In response to inspections by superiors, Jiamusi introduced many new regulations, including the suspension of some local morning markets. The local people believe that these measurements are not for the sake of people's health, but to exhaust people in response to their superior. In addition, some people in Harbin disclosed that they felt like they'd been running naked under the big data monitoring. Ever since the two sessions of the Communist Party of China started, some local morning markets in Jiangsu City were required to suspend business, and it's not allowed to open business until the two sessions finish on the 28th. Some morning markets were closed even earlier, and now when people want to buy some vegetables and daily necessities, they have to go to the supermarket. The manager of the morning markets also told those vendors that if they violate the regulation, they will be issued a warning for the first time and the second time, and would be sent to detention for the third time. Xianfeng Road Vegetable Market, near the south exit of the Jiangsu railway station, where there are usually fixed stalls and open all day, will not be allowed to do business from the 20th of this month. Local residents also said that recently the Heilongjiang authorities have also strengthened their control and constantly inspect the various places. The morning market along the Yangtze River is the largest local morning market. About 7:30 a.m., the day before the two sessions started, some urban manager staff shouted in the car to ask the vendors close the booths in advance, saying that a higher level officials would come to the local markets for inspection. Recently, Jiamusi shopping malls, supermarkets, restaurants, residential areas, morning markets, etc. have begun to set up cards to require QR scanning. Many merchants complain that they have always come back to check recently. If they do not scan the codes according to the requirements, the store will face forced closure, and none of these measures are really for the consideration of the people, all in response to the inspection, which are simply to exhaust people. Due to the epidemic situation, the Jiangsu community began disclose has become the norm. Resident buildings around the morning market have used iron fence to build a fixed wall. The entrance and exit of the Xiangyang community were also blocked by the local prevention and control center with a banner saying that the outsiders and out vehicles shall not pass. So now let's hear the news in Wuhan.
On 22nd May, a video was put on Twitter that immediately received a lot of attention. A woman from Wuhan found herself stalked by 3 police and 8 community members. They kept her from getting into the car to stop an interview with a BBC reporter, and chased them to a park 3 kilometers out of town. In October last year, this woman from Wuhan lost her home due to subway construction. When she tried to defend her rights with relevant authority, she was hurt physically during the dispute, causing permanent shoulder damage, which disabled her arm. To this day, she is still suffering from frequent dislocations and unable to work. However, almost a year has passed and there's still not any correspondence. The local community has not shown any sympathy in my situation at all. During this entire virus crisis, everything changed when they knew she's going to be interviewed by a foreign media. That's when she heard back from authority claiming to compensate her partially for the medical expenses. She posts on Twitter about uncertainty her future holds. Now, she cannot work because of injury, and it has been incredibly frustrating to defend her rights.
Residents in Jilin are prohibited from traveling to Beijing due to huge outbreak of COVID-19. Northeastern China reported a huge outbreak while National People's Congress was underway in Beijing. Health Administration in Jilin announced a new regulation that prohibited Jilin residents from traveling to Beijing, including flight, railroad, bus, and car. Infections in the northeast have led officials to sequester hundreds and thousands of at home. Heilongjiang, Jilin, and Liaoning, northeastern Chinese provinces all reported huge outbreak. Both Shulan and Fengman cities have community spread. Both are listed high-risk regions and are under strict lockdown. National People's Congress meeting was postponed for 2 months due to the pandemic, and the duration of the meeting is cut in half. The current atmosphere in Beijing is intense. Some social media users in China guessed that the Congress meeting is a way CCP used to project strength politically in the face of the uncertainty caused by the pandemic. Now let's see what is happening in Taipei.
Mass gathering at Taipei Station protesting against the CCP imposing national security laws on Hong Kong. Taiwan Human Rights Committee expressed that they will fight against the CCP's tyranny with Hong Kong together. People are gathering at Taipei Station protesting against the CCP's bypassing Hong Kong Legislative Council to impose national security laws on Hong Kong. Protesters waving flags, singing songs like Glory to Hong Kong and shout out Liberal Hong Kong and the revolution of all times. Many protesters believe that today's Hong Kong will be tomorrow's Taiwan and the future of Singapore. After CCP obtained the control of Hong Kong, the next target will be Taiwan, and the long-term target is Singapore, where Chinese are the majority. Many expressed that after CCP imposed ruling in Tibet and Xinjiang, they carried out genocide and annihilation of the cultural heritage. Hong Kong is facing the same situation today. Mr. Li Rongji, former bookstore owner of Causeway Bay Books, states that the action of taking over Hong Kong directly means that CCP will breaking its promise of Hong Kong's autonomy. Secretary of Taiwan Human Rights Committee expressed that none of the 5 demands has been fulfilled yet. CCP wants to completely control Hong Kong. This is an attack on basic human laws of Hong Kong. Taiwanese and the Taiwan government cannot stand out of this. They are singing glory to Hong Kong along with Hong Kong people to express that they will stand with Hong Konger and fight the tyranny of CCP. They are longing for the freedom, democracy, and human rights to come.
Next, the updates in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong non-official press conference was held on May 22nd, briefing on Chinese government crippling Hong Kong Legislative Council and forcibly imposing the Chinese national security laws. The spokesperson pointed out that the CCP has downright broke its lie for a high degree of autonomy. Once the Hong Kong version of the national security law of China is implemented, any evil law can be bypassed and enforced by the Hong Kong legislature. One country, two systems will be formally dead and Hong Kong will be decimated. The implementation of the national security laws has sparked historical lows in Hong Kong's housing market, dollar, and stock value. The spokesperson quoted in 2009, after cooperating with the Chinese Communist Party, Macau forcibly enacted 23 articles, ignoring the opposition. The faith in CCP among Macau citizens has been diminished forever since. Now the CCP reapplied the same strategy to suppress the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong, foreseeing huge losses on both sides. The non-government briefing calls out the citizens of Hong Kong to continue to preserve their faith and continue to fight on every front line so that the concept of liberating Hong Kong and the revolution of our times could be achieved.
That's the news for today. Thank you for watching.